Some treasures are more deadly than beautiful. This is the story of the Hope Diamond, a jewel of breathtaking blue that carries a legacy of despair. For centuries, this stone has left a trail of shattered lives in its glittering wake, from kings who lost their heads to heiresses who lost their fortunes. By the end of this investigation, you will know the chilling truth behind one of history's most infamous legends. We will uncover whether a sacred theft doomed its owners, and why a wealthy socialite thought she could outsmart fate itself. What makes an object truly cursed deep within the Kolar mine, part of the legendary Golconda diamond fields of 17th century India? A discovery was made that would echo through history. Miners unearthed a rough stone of an astonishing size, its color a profound and rare blue, like a fragment of the tropical ocean captured in crystal. This was the raw form of the diamond that would one day be known as Hope, but its journey from the earth was shrouded in a darkness that many believe sealed its fate. The most persistent legend claims the stone was no mere geological wonder. It is said that the French merchant Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, a man driven by profit and adventure, acquired the gem through an act of profound sacrilege. As the story goes, he brazenly pried it from the eye, or some accounts say the forehead, of a statue of the Hindu goddess Sita, the very embodiment of virtue and devotion. To steal from a deity was to invite divine retribution. Hindu priests, witnessing this violation, are said to have placed a powerful curse upon the stone and all who would ever claim it. The punishment for this theft was not merely bad luck, but a legacy of ruin and death that would follow the diamond forever. The tale of Tavernier's own end serves as the curse's first bloody chapter. After selling the diamond and amassing a fortune, he traveled to Russia, where, according to gruesome lore, he was torn apart by a pack of wild dogs. Historians debate the truth of this specific demise, pointing out that records of his death are unclear. Yet the power of the story is undeniable. It cemented the diamond's dark reputation from its very first owner, framing a narrative of cosmic justice that would cling to the gem for centuries. Was his fate a factual account, or a moral lesson crafted to explain the tragedies that followed? The line between history and myth begins to blur right here, at the moment of the diamond's violent birth. The diamond's dark journey did not end in the wilds of Russia. It arrived in the heart of Europe, into the hands of absolute power. King Louis XIV of France, the Sun King himself, purchased the stone from Tavernier. Enchanted by its deep blue fire, he had it recut into a triangular shape, a jewel that would be known as the French blue. He wore it as a ceremonial pendant, a symbol of his divine right to rule. Yet, the splendor of Versailles could not shield its owners from the curse. Louis XIV's own death was long and agonizing, claimed by gangrene that spread through his body. His successor, Louis XV, briefly possessed the gem before it became entangled in a scandal that tarnished the crown, and it was later locked away. But the diamond's most famous and tragic chapter in France involved the last queen to wear it, Marie Antoinette, and her husband, King Louis XVI. Though history records that Marie Antoinette adored the French blue, their reign ended in the bloody chaos of the Revolution. Both monarchs were captured, imprisoned, and ultimately beheaded by the guillotine. The stone they cherished was stolen during the looting of the royal treasury in 1792, vanishing without a trace. From a king dying in torment to a queen losing her head, the gem seemed to be a glittering omen of revolution and regicide, a curse upon the entire French crown. Its disappearance only deepened the mystery, leaving everyone to wonder where the cursed blue diamond would surface next, and whose life it would shatter. For 20 years, the French blue vanished from all recorded history, a ghost haunting the aftermath of the Revolution. Then, in 1812, a diamond of a very specific, deep blue hue surfaced in London. It was smaller, recut into its now famous cushion shape, and it bore a new name, one that would become synonymous with its curse, the Hope Diamond. The man who gave it that name was Henry Philip Hope, a wealthy banker from a powerful Dutch family. He was a connoisseur of fine art and gems, and he acquired the stone for his prestigious collection. Yet, after the diamond came into his possession, the Hope family's financial empire began to crumble. Misfortune followed his heirs, leading to bitter legal battles over the inheritance and the eventual dissipation of a vast fortune. The legacy of hope became one of loss. From there, the diamond began a chilling relay race of despair, passing from one owner to the next with grim efficiency. The French gem dealer Jacques Collot bought the stone and subsequently descended into madness, dying in an asylum. A Russian prince named Ivan Kanitovsky then briefly possessed it. He was said to have lent the diamond to a Parisian actress he was fond of, and then shot her dead on stage during a performance. He himself was later murdered in the violence of the Russian Revolution. The next owner, a Greek merchant named Simon Muntherides, was traveling with his wife and young child when their carriage suddenly pitched over the side of a cliff, killing the entire family. Finally, the diamond made its way to the Ottoman Empire, where Sultan Abdul Hamid II, a man known for his paranoia, paid a fortune for it. He believed in its power, but not its curse, and he was deposed in a coup just 2 years later. One after another, they all fell. A grim roll call of tragedy that seemed to prove the curse was not just a story, but an inescapable pattern of doom for anyone who dared to own this beautiful, blue stone. Perhaps no one tested the power of the Hope Diamond's curse more brazenly than a woman named Evelyn Walsh McLean. She was an American heiress, a force of nature who lived in a world of spectacular wealth, and believed she was immune to its dark legends. In 1911, she purchased the diamond not in spite of its history, but because of it. She was captivated by its beauty and its bloody past, and she wore the massive blue stone on a necklace almost constantly, even letting her dog wear it on its collar. She treated the curse as a personal challenge, convinced that her own vibrant spirit and good fortune could overpower any ancient malevolence. She famously declared that bad luck was not for her, that the curse would only bring misfortune to others. The universe, it seemed, was listening. Her life, once a glittering spectacle of parties and privilege, began to unravel into a sequence of unbearable losses. Her young son, Vincent, the heir to her fortune, was killed in a car accident. Her daughter, only 9 years old, died by suicide. Her husband, Ned McLean, descended into alcoholism and scandal, publicly left her for another woman, and was ultimately declared insane, dying in a mental asylum. The vast fortune she had inherited and so lavishly spent was decimated by the Great Depression, leaving her deeply in debt. Evelyn Walsh McLean, the woman who laughed at curses, died broke and broken-hearted, her life a catalogue of the very tragedies she believed she could avoid. So, did the diamond cause her ruin, or did her belief in the curse reshape her perception of her own suffering? This is the true psychological power of a legend like this. When you carry an object you believe is cursed, every piece of bad news, every accident, every loss is filtered through that dark lens. A random car crash becomes the curse's work. A financial downturn is not an economic event, but a supernatural punishment. The curse becomes a story you tell yourself to make sense of life's inherent chaos and pain, a narrative that gives a sinister meaning to misfortune. Evelyn's story forces us to ask whether the diamond's true danger was not in any mystical power, but in the terrifying weight of expectation it placed upon its owners. From the wild dogs that supposedly tore Tavernier apart to the broken heart of Evelyn McLean, the Hope Diamond's legacy is a 400-year tapestry of tragedy. Monarchs lost their thrones and their heads, heiresses lost their families and fortunes, and a string of owners met with madness, murder, and sudden death. The chain of despair seems unbroken, a chilling narrative that connects 17th century India to 20th century America. Yet, in the cold light of the modern world, science has stepped in to offer its own explanations for the so-called curse. The diamond's mesmerizing blue color, once attributed to divine or demonic forces, is now known to be caused by trace amounts of the element boron within its crystal structure. A more tantalizing, though widely disputed, theory suggests the stone emits very low levels of radiation, a byproduct of that same boron. Could this faint radioactivity, sustained over years of close contact, have subtly weakened its owners, leading to illness and erratic judgment? Most geologists and historians dismiss this idea outright. The radiation is considered far too weak to cause any harm, weaker than the background radiation we encounter every day. They argue that the real power of the curse lies not in atomic decay, but in the human mind. When you know the story, you start looking for the bad luck. Every stumble becomes a sign, every misfortune proof of the curse's power. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy of the most devastating kind. Perhaps the final proof against the curse is the diamond's own peaceful present. In 1958, the famous jeweler Harry Winston made a monumental decision. He mailed the Hope Diamond to the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., sending it through the United States Postal Service with mere dollars in insurance. There were no disasters, no postal workers struck down by fate. For decades now, the stone has resided in its museum case, seen by millions of visitors from around the globe. It is owned not by a single person, but by the public. No tragedy has been linked to it since. So, what do you believe? Has the curse been broken because the diamond finally belongs to everyone and no one, its power diluted by the gaze of millions? Or was the legend just a story we told ourselves all along, a way to make sense of the random, painful twists of fate that touch every life, with or without a blue diamond? Let us know your theory in the comments below.